Hi and welcome. My name is Mara Watts with Mara Watts Yoga, and in this video we're going to be moving through a bridge pose flow. And the goal of this little mini flow, this little yoga snack, is to help strengthen the posterior chain of the body. So we're hoping to strengthen the low back through this, also to stabilize and strengthen the hips, the thighs, and just to help strengthen all of the muscles that we need for a really nice posture and for just a healthy body overall. So to come into a bridge pose, we're going to lie on our backs. And for this class, you will need a yoga block. So I'm going to set that beside of myself over here. And so we're going to begin reclined with the feet on the ground about hips distance apart, with the heels walking in close towards the glutes, so that the knees are stacked over the ankles. And your arms can be by your side with the palms facing down. And what I'd like to do first is I'd like to begin by moving through some pelvic tilts to help warm up the lower part of the body, and before we begin lifting and lowering. So we're going to begin moving with our breath. Taking a deep breath in, if you'll tilt your pelvic floor towards the ground, and then as you exhale, begin to tilt the pelvic floor in towards the body so that the low back presses down into the mat. So on the inhale, you're tilting towards the ground, almost as if you're sending your hips towards your thighs. And then as you exhale, begin to tilt the pelvic floor in towards the body. So you're tucking, you're hugging the navel down in towards the spine, and the low back is pressing down into the mat. And so if you'll continue to rock and tilt the pelvis back and forth. I really love moving through these very gentle tilts. One, to help warm up the pelvic floor, but also it's a really nice gentle way of releasing those pelvic floor muscles. If they're super duper tight, just coming to your mat and tilting and moving can be so therapeutic. So let's take a few more tilts. Inhale, tilts the hip bones towards the thighs. Then as you exhale, hugging everything in, pressing low back into the mat. A few more, tilting forward, inhale. And as you begin to exhale, tilt everything inwards. Last one, inhale. And then as you exhale, tilting the pelvis inwards, holding and maintaining this as you breathe. So we're pressing the low back into the mat and maintaining this tilt inwards and towards the body. Breathe. Maybe even tucking the chin in towards the chest slightly. And then what I would like to do here, so maintaining this tilt, is moving through a few bridge flows. So we're going to press down into the feet, and on your next inhale, if you'll begin to lift the hips up off of the mat, nice and slow, the spine lifts off of the mat, and then as you exhale, nice and slow, rolling yourself all the way back down. So we're going to move through a couple of these. On your next inhale, tilt the pelvis in towards the body, begin to peel the spine off of the mat, really lift those hips up, And then as you exhale, lowering all the way down. So I want to do a couple more of these. So on an inhale, lift. And then exhale, lower. So you don't have to, when you're lifting on the inhale, you don't have to really crank those hips up towards the ceiling necessarily. It's more about just meeting that comfort zone and then pressing a little further past that comfort zone. And then exhale, coming down. So we're trying and working towards an edge, as we like to call in yoga. Let's do one more. And then as you exhale, roll yourself down. From here, we're going to move through some twists. So arms out at a T, palms face up. Take a big breath in and then exhale, just drop the knees to one side. Taking a breath or two here. Inhale, lift the knees up. Exhale, take them to the other side. A breath or two here. Let's do that again. Inhale, lifts the knees. Exhale, softens you over to one side. Allow your legs and your knees to be heavy, relaxed. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, drop to the other side. And then using your next inhale, bringing the knees back up, coming back into your bridge posture, preparation for bridge. We're going to move through a few rounds of one-legged bridge. So what I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to straighten out your right leg, pointing the toes, and then pressing down into the left foot. We're going to take an inhale to again begin to lift those hips off of the mat. And then as you exhale, nice and slow, lower all the way back down. Okay, so a couple of those. Inhale, lift. Then exhale, lower. Good control. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. So over time, as we move through these, you may notice one hip dipping lower than the other. So if you've got a nice dip here, we want to try to lift that hip up so that both hips are parallel to one another. And over time, as we practice these, the lower back will become strong, the inner thighs will become stronger, the hips will become stronger. Exhale down and release the foot down. Again, let's take a couple of knee drops to one side. Inhale them up, exhale them over. Just twisting, moving. It takes a lot in the low back to move through these postures. So if the low back is weak or experiencing any pain, really listen to your body, especially if you're experiencing pain. But if the low back is weak, you may notice it really, really working through these movements. And so these movements will help to strengthen. Okay, so we're going to straighten out the left leg this time with a nice solid base in the right foot. So maybe even lift those right toes, spread them nice and wide and place them back down so the full foot is grounded. We're going to move through our one-legged bridge pose. So on an inhale, we lift the hips up. Exhale to lower. We'll move through about 5 more of those. So the inhale lifts you, check on your hips. Exhale lowers you. Again, we want those hips parallel. So if I laid a pencil across the hip points, it would not roll. It may roll, right? Because you're at an angle. But it wouldn't roll off the side, off the left side or the right side, depending on if there's a dip on either side. So a few more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Let's take another round or two. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Last one, really give it your all. Inhale, lift. And then exhale, lower the left foot and then lower the whole body. So let's hug the knees in, rock from side to side. Giving your low back a little bit of a massage here. You may even take some twisting to one side, drop the knees. Take a breath or two here. Lift up on an inhale, both knees together, and then exhale to the other side. So what's nice about the twisting is that it helps even things out and keep everything nice and loose, stretched. And then using your inhale to bring the knees back up, exhale the feet down onto the mat. This time I'd like for you to grab your block and place your block between your thighs. Really give that block a good squeeze with your thighs. And so what we want to do is throughout these bridge lifts and lowers, try your best to keep that maintain of the squeeze on the block. Okay? So with the feet nice and grounded, squeezing your block, take a big inhale to lift the hips. And then as you exhale, lower all the way down. Really squeeze, squeeze, squeeze that block. Good. Inhale to lift. Good squeeze. Exhale to lower. So maintaining the squeeze and the engagement in the muscles is going to help tone and strengthen the glutes and the thighs, even in the low back here. So that's our goal, is to really strengthen everything from about this point all the way down to about this point in our body. Squeeze that block as you lift. Really squeeze it nice and slow as you lower all the way down. Let's do 2 more. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. 1 more. Inhale. And exhale to lower. We're going to remove the block from between the legs. Place it over to the side. Hug the knees in. And again, just relax all of these muscles that were engaged. Squeezing the block. Rolling around. Releasing those back muscles. Okay. From here, if you'll take your feet together, the soles of the feet together, and allow both knees to open up nice and wide. So you're in reclined butterfly, arms by your side with the palms face up. And really focus on relaxing in the low back and relaxing in the inner thighs. Even the glutes, because those were 2 areas that we were really focusing on by squeezing that block. We'll just take a few breaths here, allowing this to stretch and open. And then on your next inhale, if you'll bring the knees together, coming back into your bridge prep, we're going to grab the block once more. And I want you to notice that the block has different sides. So if I were to lay this on the ground, this would be side 1. This would be side 2, okay? And this would be side 3 in terms of levels. So we're going to come into a supported bridge, and I want you to choose a side to place the block underneath the sacrum. So the higher the block, so side 3 is going to be your most intense of a stretch and of a back bend. I personally like side 2. If you have quite a bit of pain in your low back, maybe try starting out with side 1. Just to feel how this feels. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide the block underneath the sacrum, so the base of the spine, kind of where That point is at the very bottom of your spine, where if you're resting on the block, you feel safe, you feel sturdy, you feel supported. So you're not going to fall off of the block. And what I'd like for you to do here is I'd like for you just to let the block take all of your weight, so that you're relaxing your low back, you're releasing all of these muscles and allowing this block to support you. If you find that you would like a little bit more, all you have to do is press down into your feet, lift the hips up, and switch to the next side of the block. So taking a few deep breaths here. You can even adjust your upper body. If you'd like to lift your head on an inhale and slightly tuck the chin and then place the forehead back down, that gives the back of the neck a little bit more space and gives your shoulders more space, so you're totally lengthened in this posture. Let's take a few breaths here. What's nice about this posture is that you can stay here as long as you'd like, and it's just such a relaxing and restorative posture. But what is really great about this pose, with the support of the block or without the support of the block, is that in this position, we're allowing all of the blood that is in our legs to freely flow towards the heart. So the heart doesn't have to work as hard to pull the blood back into itself. So this is very nourishing for the heart. It's also very nourishing for the abdomen. So we're really giving the abdomen and the organs here a lot of love, as well as your heart and your brain. Just everything is getting a lot of love here. So from here, what I'd like to do is I'd like to move into a nice quad, kind of top of the hips stretch. So right where you're at on the block, if you'll extend your left leg long and place the heel on the mat. And really flex that foot. So we want the toes moving towards the top of the left knee. And then what I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to lift the right leg so that the knee is bent. And then we're going to take our hands and hug that knee in towards the body. So maintaining this left foot flexed, reach that foot towards the wall that's in front of you, or whatever is in front of you. Reach that leg and that foot towards that object. And hopefully what you're feeling is a good stretch in the top of the thigh, the top of the quad, the top of the leg, maybe down into the knee a little bit. This should feel so good. Now, if this is too much of a stretch for you with the level of the block that you're on, all you have to do is set both feet back down on the mat, lift the hips, switch the side of the block, and try again. Set back up. Okay? So wherever you're at, if it's too intense, if it's a really deep stretch and you're like, no, this is not working, switch your block. Now, if the block is too much, all you have to do is come off of the block entirely, and you can perform this same posture on the ground. The goal is to maintain the flexed foot with the heel on the mat, reaching that leg away from your body. So it's almost like I'm coming up to you and I'm grabbing hold of your left leg and I'm pulling your left leg away. A few more breaths. Soften in the left knee so you're not locking out the knee. If you'll take a big breath in And as you exhale, release the right foot. We're going to slide the left foot to meet the right. Same thing on the other side, extending the right leg long. So first the right leg extends. The heel is down on the mat or in the floor. Toes reach towards the knee. Right knee is soft, a little bend. We're going to bend the left knee and hug the left knee in towards the body. So take a moment, maybe a breath or two, to really feel how this feels. Is this a really nice stretch? Does this feel lovely in your body, or is this too intense? Or do you need something else? What do you need in this moment? Do you need to switch the block? Do you need to stay where you're at? What do you need? And then when you find that place where you can really stay and breathe and experience this amazing opening in your right leg, and I invite you to relax in your upper body, in your face. Really send that right leg away from you. A few more breaths here. And then if you'll breathe in. And as you exhale, releasing the left foot down, we're going to slide the right foot to meet the left. Coming back into your bridge position. If you'll take a big breath in to lift the hips, slide the block out from underneath you, place it to the side. And as you exhale, lower the hips all the way down. From here, feel free to take a Shavasana, or if you'd like to come on up to a seated position, feel free to do so. Thank you so much for moving and flowing with me today. I hope that this was a nourishing and lovely class for your low back. Many, many blessings. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.